So I need your attention here, okay? We're going to talk about sustainable development.
I would say the vision of the World Youth Alliance is of personal excellence. You see all of these young people from all around the world. They care about others, they care about the world.
We all have the same mission because we all want to change the world. We all want to change our societies.
Everyone's talking about human rights, but no one knows why they're protecting them.
They're looking for answers. Who am I? Do I actually matter?
How can I really implement human dignity in my day-to-day life?
Just that idea that if you believe in something enough and you work hard enough, you can really change the world with something as simple as the idea of the dignity of the human person.
If you can teach people lessons of human dignity, there will be a lot less massacres or genocide, which is why principles that YA stands for, which is equality and dignity for every human being, is very important. Because unless you know why you're fighting for something, I don't think that goal can be achieved in the short term or even in the long term.
Why is really making me see the beauty in a person despite everything else and making it something more than just ideology or a theory, putting it into practice and really kind of starting a revolution.
I think there is an urgency in terms of artwork. I don't see anyone else doing the work the World Youth Alliance is doing. Freedom is this huge burden of responsibility, but also power in that sense that through ideas you're shaping your surroundings and trying to sculpt them towards something better.
Human dignity is how he is to improve himself for what is true and what is beautiful.
It's definitely an urgent time to point out those inconsistencies in our different ideologies and show that we need to be consistently affirming the value of human life at all levels, otherwise we all become vulnerable.
Organizations like World Youth Alliance have to exist because there's a constant need for someone to stand up for the little guy, the person that has no voice, and that's what World Youth Alliance does.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Greetings from Manila, Philippines. Welcome to our final episode of Hashtag Dignity in Depth. My name is Neil Casagan, World Youth Alliance member. I'm calling in from Batangas City, Philippines.
I'm Ricky Bermudez, World Youth Alliance member. I'm calling from Las Piñas, Philippines, and will be your program host for this webinar series. How are you feeling, Neil?
I'm feeling really great, Ricky. I'm excited to dive right into our great topic today. We're actually doing a bit different this time around. Sign-ups for today's discussion were pouring in, and because we wanted to have as many people as possible tuning in, we're actually live on our World Youth Alliance Asia Pacific Facebook page right now. How exciting is that, Ricky?
It's so exciting. Thank you everyone in advance for catching this live broadcast. And it's not too late to join. Feel free to share this broadcast with anyone who you feel needs a little boost today. Also, comment where you're from. We want to hear you guys. Today's topic is all about leadership in the new normal. As young leaders, how do we lead in this bizarre time? Similar with our first two panels, these are very important questions to have, and we're glad to have all of you, WIA members, collaborators from all over Asia Pacific, here in this broadcast to listen in.
Yes, we're so glad to have all of you here and so eager to connect with you all, even at this time where we're all in some form of physical distancing. Ricky, for our first timers, can you please share a little bit about the program?
Sure thing. Hashtag Dignity in Depth is a three-part webinar series that features leaders from different sectors to reflect on the past few months and eases into a discussion of what's next. What's next for us having gone through COVID-19 pandemic and how we are to prioritize the person amidst these changes.
Yes, that's a great point. We at World Youth Alliance aim to defend dignity or the inherent worth of a person, and we want to make sure that leaders and institutions are doing so in the re-examination of our future. And of course, connect our young members with these leaders in the process.
Great, we're just about ready to kick it off at episode 3. But before that, I want to remind everyone that the comment section of this broadcast on Facebook is now open for any of your questions. Feel free to pop them in there at any time, as early as now or during the discussion, but do allow us to arrive to the Q&A portion to answer them. Also, we'd love to hear your thoughts about the series. Please do help us out by answering a quick 3-minute evaluation here at bit.ly/dignityindepth3 after the discussion.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ricky. And now it's time to get to it. I'd like now to call in our Regional Director, Nico Superable, to give a few remarks about the World Youth Alliance and Dignity in Depth Webinar 3.
Hey everyone. Thank you so much to Ricky and Neil for that great introduction. So to reintroduce myself, my name is Nico. I am one of the 2 staff members representing the World Youth Alliance here in Asia Pacific. I am actually calling in from Manila, the Philippines, just like Neil and Ricky. I'm very happy to be able to connect with each of you today for our 3rd and final session of Dignity in Depth. So establishing these connections, the connections that we're having right now with all of you guys are very important for us here at the World Youth Alliance as we do work that connects us with young people from all over the world. So for new members, if you don't know, the World Youth Alliance, or fondly called WIA, is a global coalition of young people that aims to defend and promote the dignity of every human person. Dignity is universally acknowledged as a person's inherent value or worth, something that they have simply by being born into this world. And this value is the foundation of our human rights. We teach our members that it is the foundation of all our freedoms and that this dignity that we have, it's inviolable. So regardless of whatever physical, economic impediment you may find yourselves in, your dignity and worth as human beings remain. It's been an empowering mission that has for over 20 years already created great ripples of change, not only in societies around the world, but in the lives of many young people that have been inspired by this mission. We were founded at the UN in 1999. So this mission has now more than ever become so important as we go through 2020's COVID-19 pandemic. Our work with young people has made them informed about what changes need to happen in communities in order to really uphold and value the worth of a person. So we hope through Dignity in Depth, we make sure that our members know how a great focus on the dignity of the person and how efforts to really prioritize the value of the person is greatly needed in order to make sure we seamlessly transition into this new normal brought about by COVID-19. So today's talk is actually entitled Learning How to Lead Again, Leadership in the New Normal. So for our certified members, you may recognize this title as a play on one of the texts that we study at World Youth Alliance. It's Learning How to See Again. And in many ways, the 2 texts are actually very much interconnected as we discuss goals and priorities in this bizarre time. So today, we'll actually hear from a former World Youth Alliance leader about her experience during COVID-19 and what tips she has for young leaders all over to ensure smooth and efficient leadership in this bizarre time. So this is just one of the many things we do to make our work have impact here at WIA, and we hope even after today's discussion, we'll see each of you defend dignity with us and be part of our great movement. So without further ado, I turn it back to Neil and Ricky. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the discussion.
All right, thank you for that, Kuya Miko.
Yes, thank you so much for that great intro.
Just like what Kuya Miko said, we really hope that beyond this program, we're able to see more people attend other WIA programs in the future.
As mentioned earlier, Day 3 is entitled Learning How to Lead Again, Leadership Amidst the New Normal, where we ask questions like, what qualities should a leader have to flourish at this time? What should leaders prioritize? Our speaker for today is a certified KonMari consultant from the Philippines. In early 2018, Renalyn decided to use the KonMari method in her own home. After fixing her house using the KonMari method, she was happily surprised to observe improvements not only in the physical state of her home, but more importantly in her personal and professional relationships. The impact that Renalyn experienced from KonMari was so big that she wanted to become a KonMari consultant. Last year, April 13 to 15, she attended the KonMari Consultant Seminar held in New York City together with 86 other dreamers from different parts of the world. Let's give a warm digital welcome to Renalyn Tan Castillejo.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for that introduction, Ricky. It's very, very exciting just watching the videos of World Youth Alliance. Earlier, I was getting goosebumps because for those of you who don't know me, I'm Renalyn, and I used to be a staff member of the World Youth Alliance Asia Pacific office. So I was regional director for many years, and I worked in New York as well for our programs team. A total of 12 years I spent in World Youth Alliance. So you can just imagine that a lot of the values that you are working towards, that you are also espousing, they're really stuck with me until now that I'm already married. And so there, what I want to share with you is my journey. I know that we have a very exciting topic. It's called Learning How to Lead Again. And when Miko asked me to share about my KonMari work, and I learned that we were using that title of Learning How to See Again, I got excited because those are one of the readings that I really loved when I was doing my certified training program. And so there, I just want to share with you, to those of you who are not familiar what the KonMari method is, what a certified KonMari consultant is, I just want to share with you, this is me with Marie Kondo. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's a Japanese organizing consultant, and she became very popular a few years back because she has her own Netflix show called Tidying Up, Spark Joy. And so I'm one of the more than 400 certified KonMari consultants all over the world. And what do? We help organize the world through tidying. So you can just imagine the stark difference that I had from my role in WIA as regional director before. And now I go into different homes and I go help them tidy up. And if you think about it, there might some might think that it's too different, but to me, the mission of still putting importance to the family, of still being able to bring a lot of joy, a lot of clarity, and a lot of respect in the different relationships happening in the family is still very much in line into what I was doing in World Youth Alliance many years ago. It just so happens, I think, that now I do it in a one-on-one level and in different homes. And during the pandemic, a lot of things happened, a lot of things changed in terms of what I do, because as a KonMari consultant, in terms of our role, we really have to go into the homes and work with our clients. But because of the pandemic, of course, no one's allowed to leave the homes, and we really just have to stay and be responsible, stay in our homes. So what happened to me was, I guess there was a lot of things going on in my mind. I was asking myself, so what do I do now? Do I stop in my role as a consultant, or do I do something different? And as we all know, when we say learning how to see again, and this time we're trying to see how do we lead again, I think what helped me is when I decided to really just go back to my purpose and passion in supporting people in their homes through tidying. Because if I think maybe during the first few weeks of the ECQ, I was telling myself, what will I do now? But then I said, well, there is technology. And so I guess I just really wanted to keep on doing my purpose, which is to help people tidy their homes. And so I switched from face-to-face to virtual. And so that's what I do now. And I guess to share with all of you, I know that some of you are watching from different parts of not just the Philippines, but from all over the world. If you're trying to wonder, what can you do if you're used to doing something before the pandemic time, before the quarantine time? What can you do differently, or what can you do to continue your passion? So in my case, what helped me was I guess for a few days, I also just tried to also accept the reality that something was happening, something that I couldn't control. But then after that, I said, I still have my why, and my bigger why, my bigger passion. And so if I am not able to go into the actual homes, then I have to do something else. And so I did virtual. And there. So I guess what I'd like to share with you, this is a photo of something from Japan, the cherry blossoms. And the reason why I shared this with you is the KonMari method is a Japanese method. And so just sharing to you the very calming, relaxing way that the Japanese help different people. So in terms of my sharing with your statement, it's that with all the uncertainty in the world today, there's really one thing that we can control, and it is our home. And so when I realized that, I said, wow, it's actually very, very good for me to see that even if the world, there's so many things that we can't control, in our own homes, we have that capacity to still try to see how can we tidy up not just our physical space, but the greatest thing about tidying is if you tidy up your own physical clutter, physical environment, your internal condition will follow as well. And so I guess that also helped me in terms of being able to lead again. There. And I guess before I go to the values that matter, I want to ask, do you have any questions so that I can also share? I'm looking at the Facebook questions. Hello, Mukesh Kumar. So your question is, what is the difference or challenges you faced during your journey? I know that our host said that we will go towards Q&A later on, but I think the reason why I read this, it's because it's very much connected to what I said earlier, that in terms of the difference that I faced at the beginning, I guess I was able to I have a lot more control before than now. But when it comes into my home, that's one thing that I guess I'm really not able to, I'm able to manage because I'm in my home. I know what time I need to fix so that a lot of the other responsibilities will be taken care of. I also am able to manage the time with my clients, so those different things. I guess what really helped me was, again, going back into my why, into my bigger purpose. That has allowed me to become a better leader, become a more empathic leader, because now more than ever, I know that a lot of companies, they're looking into how people can be less anxious or less problematic, given that there's a lot of uncertainty today. So there. So I guess the values that truly matter to me are two things, and I got it from two items in my home, and it's a love. This is like a small woodwork. It's called Love, and it's by my bed, and this always reminds me of what's important in my life with now I'm married. And also this one, just a lot of good art that I surround myself with. And so in terms of giving you some tips, it's good to surround yourselves in your homes with items that spark joy. I actually have something I'd like to share with you. This is my favorite spark joy item. So there. That's it for me in terms of learning how to lead again. I want now, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. I just need to get something. So it's very warm here. There. Any questions? So there. There. I can't hear our team. So if what I'm reading now are the questions from Jerick Rarella. What kind of adjustment on how to lead again through virtual communication? Okay, the good thing, I'm a little bit older than most of you, so for me, technology is not really a very strong trait of mine. But what I've learned is there's no limit to what anyone can learn. And I really use this pandemic time to just speed up my learning when it comes to technology, when it comes to having visual communication. Because as a public speaker, I'm very comfortable doing live events, live workshops, live demos. But then when it's virtual, I really also had to learn a lot about technology. I had to learn about how will I be able to engage my audience if I don't see them and they're not face to face with me? So those things, Jerick, I guess for me, it doesn't matter how older I am now. But like I said, going back to my purpose of why, I think that also allowed me to continuously be a better leader in this time.
All right. Thank you, Ren, for that wonderful and joyful discussion. We hope you guys enjoyed and the discussion sparked joy in you.
Now we'd like to move on to the Q&A. As mentioned, you guys could comment your questions at the comment section. But due to time constraints, we'll not be able to get to all of them.
Some have also sent in their questions via the sign-up sheet, which I will be asking to Ren, while Ricky will be reading your questions from the comment box. All right, Ren, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. For our first question, social media is really the go-to place now if you want to engage with your constituents or teams. I'm not really social media savvy. Are there other ways to be visible as a leader now? Should leaders be evaluated based on their noise online?
You know what? For me, if you really want to be a leader or you consider yourself to be a leader, I guess whether or not you're on social media or whether you're just at home, you start where you are. So if you're at home, you want to be a leader. And so you try to see in your family, with your siblings, with your friends, if there's something that needs to be fixed, if there's something that needs to be arranged or be in order, then maybe you can try to see how your leadership can play. But then if you want to really step up and to be a leader, even if you're not into social media, it's actually the perfect time for you to try to see what can you do differently now. Because I've learned from someone that leaders, you really will see how real leaders can be during times of crisis or during times when not everything is planned. And so in this pandemic time, if you want to be a leader, then you also have to be ready to go beyond your comfort zone. My question to you is, if you're not is it because you're not in social media because you're not familiar with the technology, or is it because you don't like the attention or you don't like the people around you? If it's the technology part, then it's easy to fix. You really just have to be open to learning. But if it's because you're very shy and you don't like to have a lot of people around you, then you also have to try to reflect on whether or not your heart is really into leadership. Because leadership is not really just a privilege that you enjoy by the sake of having a position title. Leadership is actually something that you can only tell yourself you're doing if you're actually in the action of any particular situation. I know that a lot of things today, when you look at social media, everything seems perfect. But what I'd like you to realize is the great leaders, you don't really see what they're doing on the perfect images that are being shared in Facebook, in Instagram, and all of these other curated feeds. The great leaders of today, whether or not there is social media, whether or not there is someone taking a photo of them, still continue to be leaders. And I guess if you want to try to see how you can use social media better in terms of your leadership, what you can do is actually use that to amplify your voice, use that to amplify the messages, because we're in this day and age where you can reach almost anyone, not just here in the Philippines, but all over the world. And so to me, that's how I will be able to remove all of the fears. If I know that I will be using social media, not because I need to have that perfect photo or perfect, what do you call this, perfect image of me doing leadership tasks. But if I use it to be able to give a message that's having a lot of value and a lot of heart for a lot of people today, then all of the fears you have will disappear. I know that's a longer answer that I gave to your question, but I think it's very, very important. Why are you afraid of social media? If you are going to be closer to your purpose, if you're going to help anyone, then there's nothing to be afraid of. There's just so many things to be excited about, and the world needs people like us who understand the importance of human dignity, of family, of holistic development. So good luck to you. If you have a social media page, just let me know. I will follow you.
All right. In connection with being a leader, another question is, as a leader, I feel so much pressure to come up with creative solutions that I doubt myself. How do I start to love myself again despite the fallbacks? How can leaders cope with mental pressures?
That's an excellent question. Neil, what's the name of the person who asked?
It was actually sent in via the sign-up sheet.
Okay, sign-up sheet. So whoever the person is, I guess the pressure will always be there. But if you go back into why you're doing it, if you go back to a lot of the people that you'll be able to help, I think you'll be able to go through those challenges that you mentioned.
All right. Seeing a lot of questions right now from the live comments, we'll now move on to Ricky to ask questions from the comment box.
Okay, so for our first question, what are some practical tips you have for tidying up our home, for our homes, for our works, from home setup?
Okay, this is great. This is my passion now, and this is something that I hope that you'll be able to do in your homes as quickly as you can. So depending on your things, one thing you have to remember is when you tidy up the KonMari way, you can only touch your own items. I know that sometimes maybe you're upset because you're living with a family member or you're living with someone who has a lot of clutter, has a lot of things. Unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, you cannot touch their things. You can only touch your own things. And I guess it also gives a better sense of ownership in terms of what you can do in your home. So if you want to start, the thing to remember is you have to start by discarding items first. So your home, doesn't matter how big or how small it is. The most important is you know what sparks joy for you. And in the words of KonMari, when we talk about spark joy, this means that the item actually gives you a better purpose. It gives you a better value. It doesn't mean that the item always makes you smile or makes you laugh, but you ask yourself, for example, this book. Right now, this book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, it's very valuable for me because I use this as a reference for a lot of my work, a lot of my clients. But I also know that maybe in a few years, if I already have mastered everything here, or I know by heart everything that's written in this book, maybe I will give this to someone who needs it more. So those things, it really depends on the different aspects of your life stage. And from there, you'll be able to figure out if you still need something or not. Once you discard an item, it's very important to remember that you have to say thank you to the item. And I don't want you to feel any guilt at all. The reason why we say thank you is because once upon a time, these books or these items, these things made us happy as well. So you also want to honor all of those things, all of those different memories that come with your different possessions. And then remember as well, in the KonMari categories, so you have to tidy by 5 categories. So you divide the different things inside your home. First, you tidy up your clothes, then your books, then your papers, your miscellaneous items, and lastly, your sentimental items. And there's a reason why you have to tidy up your sentimental items last. Because can you imagine, if you tidy it up the first time, I don't think you will be able to discard anything at all. So there, those are just some basics that you can do. And what I want you to also remember is when you're tidying up, come not from a position of scarcity or a position of fear that you won't have anything anymore, but come from a position of abundance, wherein you, even if you have lesser items, but if the quality of items in your home is very, very good, it gives you value, it gives you so much more, then that's better. Rather than having so many things that you don't actually use and just are getting that dust in your home.
Okay, thank you so much. So how do we lead again in COVID while being a leader without a title? Because we're all leaders irrespective of circumstance.
What's the name of the person who asked? There's also no name, my dear.
Sulaiman.
Sulaiman. Sulaiman, thank you for your question. So I guess your question is really more, how do you become a leader during the time of COVID? And to me, what's very, very important is, as a leader, we don't differentiate between different times, different situations. Because I guess if you're really a leader, what can be your great determining factor is what's in your heart and the people that you serve. And I know that maybe this is not the answer that you're expecting from me, but for me, if you are a leader, whether or not the situation is easier or harder, what will take you towards that particular moment is if you know what are you here for, what do you stand for, and what do you want to do for your constituents, or what do you want to do for the community that you're serving. Because if you try to factor in so many different things with leadership, if you try to factor in, is this the best time to lead, or is this easier to lead now, or do I run for student council now because there's no face-to-face school, maybe it's easier. But that's not how leaders think. When you're a leader, it is in your heart that you really just want to serve people. But before you can serve anyone, the most important thing you have to remember is you have to love yourself first fully. And that's why I love the KonMari method very well, because the KonMari method, even if it seems like it's a simple tidying method of removing things from your home, keeping items that you like, it's a very reflective process. And it's actually asking you, what is it that you value in your life? And if you know what you value and you surround yourselves only with those items, then you will feel an internal peace and calm in your heart. And so that will also allow you to be better grounded, to also have better tools when you will be faced with so much uncertainty like at this time as a student leader. So if you want, I really hope that after this talk, maybe you can start tidying up. Because like I said, it's not just aesthetic purposes that you'll have a great bedroom or you'll have a great living room, but you will experience a lot of internal peace and calm, internal happiness when you remove the non-essentials in your life, in your home, and in your life. So there. And also, the reason why I'm focusing a lot on the internal condition was once upon a time when I was a leader and I was doing so many things for other people. I was doing so many trainings for youth all over the Philippines, all over Asia, and all over the world. When I had that chance, there was a part of me, I think, that I also forgot, because I was always thinking of others. But as a leader, you cannot do that. You cannot serve another person 1, 2, 3, 100, or 1,000 if you cannot serve yourself first. So you have to love yourself. You have to give yourself that time. You also have to set a date with yourself. And that's how you start being a leader, because you will know your values, you will know what is important to you, and whatever the world gives to you, whatever the world shows you as a challenge, you will be able to manage it. So like I said, this is what it means to learn how to lead again. You go back to yourself, you go back to who you are.
All right, so for our next question, how do we see leadership in the new normal? How can we encourage young people, especially into leadership?
I guess in this question, I know you cannot answer me right now, but I would like to throw back the question back at you, because in this time, I think it's okay to be humble as a leader in terms of also asking your peers, because no one has the what do you call this? No one has the monopoly of answers when it comes to leadership, especially when we're living in unprecedented times. And there's a lot of value in just getting experiences from different people, different communities, different countries. And so to me, in order for you to answer that question, what I'd like you to do is take advantage of the fact that we have technology now, and you have so many people at home who are ready to talk to you because they have more time than normal. So maybe you can have that time to just have that brainstorming, that chatting in terms of, okay, as leaders, what are our constituents asking from us? What is important from us? Because like for me, I can always share with you what was important to me during the time when I was leading. But I think now the value that you can have is being very quick, being very relevant together with your co-leaders. Because like I said, if you have humility as a leader and you get the experiences of each other, even if we're not able to see people face to face at the moment, there will still be that good link that you have, because you keep on talking to each other and you don't forget how to have relationships with others, how to be able to care for other people. Because when you're sitting in front of the computer screen or on the phone screen most of the time, and you're not able to talk to actual people, there can be some things that might be lost. So I also want to encourage you to always go out of your way to talk to your friends, not just text them or type over email, but actually call them and ask how they're doing. Because like right now, we have to be creative since we can't see each other face to face all the time.
All right. For our next question, how do you have energy to engage people as a leader during this time?
How do I have energy? Well, to me, I am happy internally. There's inner joy now that I have. And to me, when I'm at peace with myself, that's where I'm able to get all of these positive feelings. Because you need to have to rest. Like, for example, today, it's a very busy day for me. And so I didn't have a lot of breaks in between. So for example, right after this, what I'll try to do is really just maybe give myself 30 minutes of just relaxing. Because if you keep on doing so many things with no breaks, then you can also feel maybe that some things will be cluttered in that aspect. And so it's just very important to know yourself very well as a leader. I just saw a comment by Sulaiman Dawood. So he said, so titles are not necessary being a leader. I believe you agree on that. Just to clarify, when I said earlier, I don't know where this part came, but titles will always be part of a leader. And I'm not discounting that. Like if you're a leader, you're president, you're student council rep, these will be your titles. But what I'm saying is these titles will really not mean anything if you are not living by what is expected to you as a leader. You can have the greatest title in the world, you can have the top one title in the world, but if you don't have influence over your constituents, over people who you lead, how do you expect them to help you now that you're not seeing each other face to face? And so this is where I think the importance of that title and equating that with your own values, your own traits, your own love for service will get you farther than where you are now. So Sulaiman, good luck with your leadership. I'm sure that there's a lot of great things happening from wherever you are. Hello, Honey Rod. Hello, Diana. Hello, Brian. Hello, Dominic, for watching.
All right, so for our next question, can you give examples of how tidying improves one's mental health or leadership?
I guess tidying is a very simple process of you trying to find a parking space for every single item in your home. That's how I usually explain it to my clients. When you tidy up the KonMari way, when you know what sparks joy for you, you have to find a specific parking space in your home for that particular item. Like, for example, for my stuffed toy penguin, if I'm not using this, I know that I will put this in the container by my walk-in closet. Now, if you don't have a container, if you don't have a parking space for something in your home, that's when clutter can start. And in the same way, if you think about it as a leader, if you also don't have parking spaces, or if you don't have a specific home for the different items, the different responsibilities that you have, that's where your mind will be full of noise, full of a lot of questions. But if you know that, okay, this is where it should go, this is my priority, this is what I want to do now, then it's going to be easier for you to manage everything. Sometimes it really just takes your alone time, your commitment, and your discipline to your own space. And once you have that space, that physical space that you're able to tidy, you will see that the effects that it has, not just on your home, but also on yourself and your personal relationships, your career, will also be affected in a good way.
All right, thank you so much. Some are also asking, how can we get in touch with you for more tips?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If you are interested, I really hope you follow me on Instagram. My Instagram account is called @World of Yorokobi. So it's World of, and then YOROKOBI. You might be wondering, what does Yorokobi mean? It's actually Japanese for the word joy. And so that's me. I guess, as you can see, I'm a very joyful person. And I'm just very grateful that I guess my joy also allowed me to go through all of the 12 years that I was working with World Youth Alliance with so much passion, so much love, even during the times when there were a lot of things that I didn't know how to do, or there were some challenges. I guess the joy that I have, the inner joy that hopefully you're able to feel as you watch me, that's what allowed me also to be stronger and to be braver. And so as a leader, you also have to find what is that special thing in you that no one else has. What is that special touch or special something that only you, Neil, only you, Ricky, can give to the table? Because we are all special. And the problem can be is if as a young leader, you try to compare yourself with another leader. If you do that, you will only be disappointed. My friendly advice to all of you, my dear Waya friends, is if you want to compare yourself to someone as a leader in terms of improvement, just compare yourself to who you were a few minutes ago. You understand that? You can only compare yourself to yourself, because that's the only fair standard that you can give to you. I've learned that the hard way. Because when I was growing up, I was trying to be the best leader I can be. I sometimes would always compare myself to a better leader. And I learned that I would feel bad because I said, why is she doing this? Why is he doing that? Why didn't I think of this? And I realized at the end I was being very unfair to myself, because I can never be on that same level playing field because we never had the same starting point. But if you compare yourself to yourself as a leader, it's going to be very easy for you to say, oh, I have growth now from this to that, because you start, then you improve again. So hopefully that's how you grow as a leader.
All right. Thank you, Ren, for that very inspiring message. Wow. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for that great discussion. This was one enlightening session, right, Neil?
Yes. Today was a great closer to a wonderful series, thanks to Ren. And thank you to all of you for attending.
Thank you.
Reminding everyone also, again, to answer a quick 3-minute evaluation form about the program at bit.ly/dignityindepth3 for your comments and suggestions regarding future WIA programs and online events.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for such a fantastic time these past 3 sessions. I hope you all learned a lot and are more hopeful and excited for what's ahead.
Yes, thank you everyone. Once again, we are Waya, wishing you all a safe weekend. See you all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Everybody, spark joy.